intervention is the first step. So again, like that kind of goes back to my, I guess, rehab, experience. It's staging that intervention. You eventually hold your hands up and go, do you know what? My way isn't working anymore. I need to try something different, or I need to get help from somewhere. And I think we all have to get to that point. And as you were saying, maybe it's your rock bottom, maybe it's nearly at your rock bottom, but until you surrender, like control, then nothing's going to work.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Mentally Shredded podcast. I'm your host, Christopher Whedon, and we have a special guest today coming from the UK, Camilla Collins. How are you today?
Hey, Chris. I'm good. How are you?
I'm living the dream. Always.
Good.
So Camilla and I connected on LinkedIn, and I was extremely just attracted to her style, to her look. And then I was like, okay, like what else is she about? And she is an image, lifestyle, really health and wellness coach. I feel like you take a holistic approach based off of the content that I have seen from you and based off of our conversation. Am I correct in saying that?
Yes, I think so. There's quite a few things going on. And yeah, I very much do take a holistic approach because everything is related, really. And I think, I probably should just pick one thing or like two things. But, I find it really hard because everything, even when I sort of go and focus in sort of one area, it just leads me back into another. And it all sort of stemmed from my makeup artistry career. That's how I kind of got into confidence and confidence coaching, and, looking from, a place of putting things on the outside, which can help, boost your confidence in order to get you to do certain things, and to motivate you, and make you, feel like doing it. Over time, actually, that can end up being a crutch for you and actually then diminishes your confidence. So that's kind of when I was compelled to kind of dig sort of deeper within, looking at sort of mindset, the beliefs that we hold, and just general kind of overall mental health as well. And that's sort of where it sort of went from makeup through to confidence, through to mindset, lifestyle, and all the bits in between.
So I hear creator, entrepreneur, these are buzzwords, right? And so when I look at you and I look at your content, I'm like, she is an artist, like truly painting a canvas and allowing her creativity to be expressed in multiple different arenas, and including, if I'm not mistaken, body physique competitions, right? So bodybuilding physique, I know that's one category, and then I know there's other categories. Can you specify which specific category that you focus on?
Sure. I love the way that actually you just said that, by the way, like it is creative, actually. I guess the whole everything I do is in itself like a bit of an art form. And I love that you've touched on the bodybuilding, because to me, so I got into makeup artistry because I was interested mainly in prosthetics and sort of changing form, really. So all my artwork at school was very much distorting bodies and faces. It was a bit disturbing. And again, there was, mind stuff there as well. But, I was fascinated by that. I was fascinated by transformation. And basically the body, I've always been into the gym. I guess the bodybuilding element, it was a lockdown diet that got out of control. The second lockdown that we went into, I just really needed something to focus on, and something for me. I did a lot in the first lockdown with business, and I just felt like I wanted to do something for me. And also I did balloon quite a bit in the first lockdown. So the second one, I was like, I'm going the other way. We're not having this again. We're not having a repeat. But yeah, it's just I almost feel like it's the next stage. It's going in deeper with makeup artistry. With paints you can go so far. Then you can add in prosthetics, and then your appliances and applying pieces and painting them up. But then to actually, and that's kind of quick stuff. Prosthetics takes a bit longer than painting. But then when you get your body into the gym, and what you're eating, and how you're training, and the techniques and stuff, to then sculpt something that way. And depending on which areas you're focusing on, you have the control there of kind of which areas are growing, and how you're looking. So yeah, I very much see that actually as just like the next phase in my obsession with transformation.
I love that. So that we have to kick off, because all I see right now is a lot of, oh man. So I see the physical, the mental, the possibly even spiritual growth just in listening to you and watching the stuff that you put out. And you're truly making an impact in your circles, and now it's spread to where people like myself in America can watch your content. And you do it in such a unique way. You talk about how things didn't really get started until you were broken, until your foundation was broken, and I can relate to that so much. So can we touch on what that journey looked like from the brokenness to creating who we see today?
How long we got? Okay, so I think you might be talking about a little snippet that was taken from that body painting.
Yes.
What a night that was. Stepping for the listeners, I had to step into. I was due to speak on an evening, just it was a short storytelling evening, and the model for the body painting exhibition dropped out. So I had to step in. So I ended up delivering this talk butt naked, pretty much. But it was relevant. It was totally relevant. I was talking about being vulnerable, and I was talking about my experience. So I actually ended up going into rehab in 2009, I want to say. Yeah, I think it was about 2009. So I was in sort of residential care for a month, doing an ATP program, which is an addiction treatment program. So it was basically therapy, 7 a.m. till 7 p.m. And that therapy was talking and talking and talking about your feelings, which is really uncomfortable. And generally people who have, addiction to gambling or to drink or to love or to sex or to alcohol or anything are generally trying to get away from their feelings. So yeah, it was an interesting experience. And you can't come out unchanged by that. And the idea is that you are changed, of course, because you want to sort yourself out and get things better. And I think, and I was having a chat with a friend about this today, like more often than not, we have to hit rock bottom. We have to get like so sick of our own shit, or everything has to be completely ruined and completely wrecked, because then we have nothing to hold on to, and it's like we get this fresh start. And as much as it's a horrible place to be in, I find it's easier for us to work out which direction we want to go in, to work out kind of who we are when we've got nothing pulling us back, or no ties, and that's on kind of an identity level, and just none of that sort of stuff pulling us. Obviously, in rehab and talking about feelings, and obviously working with therapists, that was a bit of help. But it's also the change of environment, I think, that massively helped me. Taking me, our environments are so important to us. They can be very triggering on a subconscious level in a positive way, but also in a negative one as well. And I mean, I've just moved to the countryside. I've been in London all my life. And I've just moved to a place called Box in Corsham, which isn't too far from Bath. And yeah, it's just, I've got two Cocker Spaniels, two crazy dogs, and I'm crazy too. And we like to just go frolicking around the fields, just burning off some steam and thinking. Well, probably not them so much. I like to think, they like to run. And, it just makes you feel so much better. And I know we've been doing a lot of these trips in the last sort of couple of years. And I think lockdown changed things a lot, where I got outdoors more and I realized how much better I felt for doing that. Yeah, so that's kind of why I've been chopping and changing my environment and decided to actually kind of move, because I'm generally sort of happier here, or in these kind of spaces. But that might run out in a year or so, and I might want to go somewhere else. So who knows? But
That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
the environment really changes, how you think about stuff. So so for rehab, being a month away somewhere, to really kind of take all the ties away that would trigger me into old behavioral patterns, and also the people as well, your people or environment. Um, yeah, I had none of that, so I could just start from scratch.
Yeah. I love that because that is exactly the same for me, right? It's as far as once my foundation was broken, now I knew I could build. There was like a rebuilding process.
Mhm.
But it took a lot for me to get to the place where I was broken, where the foundation was completely destroyed, right? It took anxiety, it took depression, and I was coming down. And then you make an adjustment and you feel like you're back on the roller coaster on the way up. And then I talk about the death of my grandfather, right? That happened just a few months after quitting my job and starting my business. So I was like on this high and then back down again. And this time it was like I can't even leave the apartment, or I can't get out of bed except for one instance. Besides Uber Eats and all of the food deliveries, I would always leave and go to the gym or go for a run, and then I'd come right back. And that, I believe, for me personally, allowed me to pretty much speed up the process of healing once I started therapy. So I know most people put gym, exercise, all of that stuff on the shelf when they are internally struggling, whether it's mental health or whatever is going on with them. I still don't know the answer to why I continue to work out, even though I felt terrible. Like I felt like the world was like crumbling around me, and I couldn't breathe at times. Right? I'm sure you can relate to just feeling that pressure, that weight of the world, and I love that you figured out, hey, I need to make a change. Like I either need to seek help, or somebody was in your corner saying, hey, this is not the best version of you. I see more for you. What did you have people in your corner when you felt like you were at your lowest? Like what made you say, okay, I need to seek help?
Um, yeah, I do you know what? I think a lot of people were just at their wits' end with me. I mean, it's all a bit kind of hazy. I mean, so I was in for my life had become unmanageable, as they say in the rooms, where it was just one thing after the other. Things spiral, don't they? Because then, the more you do something, the more you're around people that do that thing, and then the more you go into it, and then it goes on to other things, and this just progresses over years. So, and it happens. It doesn't happen like one day you just suddenly this new person or this person that does these things. It happens over time, so you don't actually notice. And for me, it was going on for a number of years, mainly for cocaine and alcohol, and I still like to be the life and soul of a party, but I just took it too far and got kind of hooked on
Yeah.
it back then. And yeah, so a couple of, over a few years, but it was eventually at a charity event with my mother one evening at Christmas time, and it was at the Hilton in Park Lane, which is a very well, it was in the bottom in the ballroom, but afterwards we went out for a drink at the top, which is a very very tall building, lovely views over London, and just going back to what you were saying about anxiety and just dark places. All I can describe is, if I remember that time and the months kind of surrounding it, was everything looked dark. Like everything, even on a sunny day, like everything was dark, and I just always felt so cold. Like everything was very grey. If I look back to like memories of things then, so I totally, it just, it's all consuming when you're kind of in that place. It's really hard to get yourself out of. But I guess the turning point for me was I was at the top of this, in this bar, at the top of this building, and all I wanted to do, Chris, was throw myself off it. Like I didn't. I just. It would just be so easy and so much easier than anything else. And then having a conversation, I just felt like it'd been going on for so long that it was like so much me. I couldn't really see a way out. I couldn't see a different way to live. I didn't even know who I was, or what other way it could be. So when we got back to, I was staying at my mum's that evening. I didn't say anything. I was very numb as well around that time. I didn't really talk. I wasn't crying. I wasn't, I just sat there and I just didn't really care to be here anymore, essentially. So I guess what I've just said there is what I said to my mum when I sat on her sofa when we got in. And she broke into tears and she said, "My God, I am so, so glad you've said this, because I've been so worried about you for ages." Apparently she tried to get me sectioned or something. She was trying to call, trying to do something for me, because I wouldn't do anything for myself. But unfortunately, because I was over the age of 18, there was nothing she could do. I had to get there on my own. So that was the
Yeah.
next day that I went in for a consultation. I love it. It's the Priory Centre in North London, and they advertise it as a free consultation. And yes, it's a free consultation, but it's going to cost you an absolute fortune to go in there. But I went in, and yeah, as I said, I was in there for a month and sorted it out, and it was amazing. Actually, some people came to visit me, and it was amazing to know who cared, and you work out kind of who your friends are, and coming out the other side as well, and having the conversations with people about, yeah, just how I was, because I don't remember. It's hazy, and also even what we think isn't necessarily what other people think, or we create our own reality, don't we? And how events go is the way we perceive it, but someone else might perceive differently. So yeah, it was really interesting, and that's why I said I think people were at their wits' end, because I think people have tried a number of times to help me or to support me, or but just I wasn't having any of it. I had to get there on my own.
Looking for a consulting firm that can help your organization achieve its full potential? Look no further than Deck Leadership. With over 25 years of experience in NASCAR, founders Mike Metcalf and Sean Pete know what it takes to lead high-performing teams. They can help you uncover opportunities for diversity, efficiency, culture, and kindness, all while inspiring human brilliance. And if they can lead pit crews that can change 4 tires and fill 18 gallons of gas in less than 12 seconds, just imagine what they can do for your organization. Visit www.deckleadership.com for more information. Yeah. You mentioned you find out who your friends are, and you really do when you're at your lowest, or when people are fed up. Who's still going to be there when it's time for the rebirth, essentially. And so I love that you did have people in your corner, and I know that only helped with the healing, with the growth. I know it only helped with that process. So if those people are listening, thank you for showing up, because we need more people like you.
Yeah.
Because we need everyone to feel and remember and understand that you are not alone. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you for allowing me to.
Yes. So I truly believe everyone's experience is for a reason. I don't think things happen by chance. Let's touch on how your growth of who you've developed, of who you've created today, has helped you in your line of work.
Um, it is my line of work. Like yeah, it very much is. As I said, it's kind of the journey that I've been on, I think. And I guess my client, well, sometimes when you're thinking about your ideal client, I mean, generally that person is you 5 years ago or 10 years ago, or whatever. It's a past version of you, and that's the best person that you'll be able to help. So I mean, I have a very love-hate relationship with social media. But in a way, I do enjoy writing. I guess that's another, like, I'm a creative person, but more so than making makeup videos and sticking them on like reels and things like that. I do prefer to write and like craft words and things like that. And I guess, it's kind of a bit of a therapy for myself, in sort of gathering my thoughts and feelings towards things. And, for example, like journaling or scribing or writing, or whatever you want to call it, is definitely an action that I encourage people to do. Not necessarily creative writing or storytelling, but, just to process emotions, thoughts, feelings, first thing in the morning, at lunchtime, at night, to offload the mind. So yeah, I mean, all the things that I just want to pass on, all the things that I've learned that have helped me onto other people, and I don't want to keep any of that to myself.
Mm.
So, kind of openly sharing it. And I did actually create a methodology. So I have this sort of 5-step methodology, which, kind of started out as a confidence thing, but it's to do with it's sorting out your lifestyle as well. And so it kind of covers it. It's really hard it is evolved, but it's hard to actually say exactly what it's for. But I just think I don't know anyone that can't benefit from it. It's not like, oh, I have this problem, okay, therefore I should just work through this kind of thing. It's just, I think, something that enhances everyone's lifestyle in terms of, and their mindset as well, in terms of the prompts to kind of look at. So it's around. I need to find a name for it. Like 4 years later, I still need to find a name for it. But yeah, it's the 5 I's. So if anyone's got any suggestions, send them in. And Chris, if you've got suggestions, but yeah, they all begin with an I. So intervention is the first step. So again, that kind of goes back to my, I guess, rehab, experience. It's staging that intervention. You eventually hold your hands up and go, do you know what? My way isn't working anymore. I need to try something different, or I need to get help from somewhere. And I think we all have to get to that point. And as you were saying, maybe it's your rock bottom, maybe it's nearly at your rock bottom. But until you surrender, like control, then nothing's going to work, because everything you read, or all the advice you take, you kind of think, oh, okay, yeah, sort of take it on board, but you still, ego's still there. I know better. So that's kind of the first step, which is quite an easy step. And then the next one is interruptions. So it's all about interrupting your negative thought processes, disrupting beliefs, uprooting kind of all the stuff, well, not all the stuff, but things that come up that need to be uprooted and kind of disturbed, that are causing sort of problems. So that's like a whole big on interruption. And then it's all about intention and getting intentional with your time, intentional with yourself, intentional with your actions, building intention into everything. And we've got identification, which is very much identifying with yourself, physically. There's exercise and things to look at yourself in the mirror and identify there, but just who you are, what you're about, how you work, and that's the most important thing. And I think particularly with the rise in social media and just the amount of content that we consume from magazines or biographies, it's so easy to just take on kind of other people stuff that works for other people, or stuff that looks good on other people, which is great to take inspiration for. But quite often we just try to like cram all this stuff into our life when we haven't really properly thought if it's right for us, if it's what we really want. It's kind of sold in a lovely laid out article or a beautifully filtered image on Instagram or something. And then the final one is influence, which I just think is so important, which is about environment, as we discussed earlier. And that's the people, places, and things that you surround yourself by, relationships and boundaries or lack of that you have. So yeah, so that's my
Yeah.
methodology and the 5 I's that we work through. It's
Yes.
been my journey in and what I found along the way, and helps others too.
I love the 5 I's. Absolutely love it. And I have to touch on this because I want to make sure people do not miss this. There is a lot of content. There are a lot of books, there are movies, there are social media influencers, if you will, that are constantly posting and vying for your attention. But you have to do the due diligence. You have to do the work to see what works for you, right? I always talk about this grocery store mentality. So if I go to listen to Camilla speak and I'm just taking it all in, there may be things that she says or that another speaker says that resonates. I take that off the shelf and I put it in my basket and I continue to walk. And that's the beauty of the grocery store mentality, because if you go to the grocery store, I've never seen anybody just start taking everything off the shelves and put it in their basket to leave. You have to approach your health and your well-being in the same way. Not everything's going to be for you in that season or in that moment or ever. Figure out what works for you by trying. A lot of times it's trial and error. I'm sure you didn't come up with the 5 eyes, just woke up and boom, there it is, right? It was a little bit of trial and error, understanding and growing into what is the best version that I want to show in the world. What do I want to be remembered for? And so I love that you developed this system, because I have a system as well. But that the 5 eyes is beautiful. It's beautiful. I love intention. What is the intention that we are moving forward in? Even setting the intention for the day, right? We forget to do that. And so you're kind of going throughout your day and taking these punches and getting hit from all different angles. And I think it's very important that people recognize that you can control what happens as soon as you wake up and when you go to bed, as far as what you pour in. You already have to have your armor on by the time you leave your house, because you do not know what is going to come. And so if we get in the habit of putting that armor on, developing a system that works for us, i.e., the 5 eyes, you will be prepared for whatever challenges come your way. And it's not going to be perfect. It's a journey. This is something that we will grow and become a part of the rest of our lives, but it is important to identify what that is.
100%. Like, I love your grocery shopping analogy, and I'm just visualizing like taking everything off the shelves. So you're right, you don't, and that's the beauty about keeping books that you read. Which I always like to buy books. I don't have a Kindle. I don't like to read stuff online. I like to buy books. I like to pencil stuff in, and then I want to come back to them, years down the line. I'm like, oh, and then I'll see what I've penciled, but something else will jump out, because the second time you listen to something, you might not have noticed it at first, or it might not have resonated because of whatever was going on in your life the first time. So that's why, things over and over again, like, they have such a long life. There's always something to glean from it over and over again. And that's why with programs and particularly with the 5 eyes, it's something you work every day. It's a daily practice, just like you were saying about getting your armor on. And, with that, you want to be proactive with your days. You don't want to be reactive. And that's the thing. And if you don't kind of plan, or don't have an idea of how things are going to go, or just a little bit of forward thinking, obviously we don't want to be living in the future. We certainly don't want to be living in the past, but we need a little bit of it, just to protect ourselves, really,
Yeah,
and to make our lives easier. So just
absolutely.
having a finger on the pulse, as they say.
Yes. The past is supposed to teach us, right?
Mhm.
What did we
Oh
learn?
yes.
Right. And it's funny because a lot of people try to forget the past. Oh, that I didn't like that version of me. Okay. Well, if you don't remember that version of you and remember the decisions you were making to change, it's easy to fall back into habits, right? And so I remember everything for the most part, unless I blocked some specific seasons for a reason. But for the most part, I remember why I turned into the version that I didn't like, the version that I would look in the mirror and be like, who are you? This is not acceptable. And I can't allow this version to continue walking around in this world, because it's not serving to others. And I know for me, I know I'm a leader. I know that I've had these affirmations like spoken over me since I was a child, right? And so when you're going against who you feel like you are, who you are to your core, and maybe no one else knows, but you deep down know whether you're operating on your highest, this is your highest self, or operating on the new operating system, which is why we always need to update. Always need to update. Our phones update, but we don't update ourselves. So I think it's we just have to remember, like, hey, maybe it is time for an update. Let's look internally, write down goals, write down, I'm not big on the New Year's resolutions, but figure out what works for you. Write those things down and figure out, okay, are you the person that is going to attract what you just wrote down that you wanted, or do you need to make a change?
So right.
Yeah.
And I think we
Yeah.
always need to be making tweaks and changes. And we were just saying before when we came on, didn't we, about your routine stopping working for you
Yeah.
after a while, and you need to change it up. And that okay, we were talking about getting up super early in the morning to go to the gym, and being a productive time. And mornings certainly are for me. And then eventually, it kind of stops working because you get used to it. And it's that doing the same workout in the gym or the same exercise, eventually your body adjusts, you stop getting progress, you plateau. And that happens in our lives with everything. So we got to mix it up, and we can have fun with that. It's not a stressful thing. It's just, yeah, just changing, tweaking, playing, trying, as you said, with in the grocery store, picking that thing up, trying it out. Does it work? Does it not? If not, toss it, go and look for something else.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So as we get ready to wrap up here, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's been
Yes.
lovely chatting to you.
I've enjoyed our conversations back and forth via social media, and now we finally get a chance to talk face to face. So maybe one day in person, and I'll add that to my calendar of people I want to meet in person,
Oh,
because I truly believe that your heart is pure. I love the work that you're doing, and just thank you for showing up as your authentic self. As we wrap, I try to finish every episode with this question. And so I just want you to fill in the blank.
God. Suspense.
So I am blank. Can you fill that in for me?
So many things. What am I? I am, in this moment, I am joy.
Mm, I love that. I
I'm
am
going to,
joy. Thank you. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for just being yourself. Thank you for doing the work, because that is, I know because of the space you're in, people forget, oh, they're strong. They're serving, they're good. People forget that we also need people to show up for us. So I just want to acknowledge, thank you for doing the work. Where can people find you on social media and support?
first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's been awesome to be on here. And if people want to find me on social, so I don't. And funny enough, we spoke on Instagram. I don't really, no, LinkedIn even. It's on my list, and I am going to be moving more over there. But I don't spend much time there. But you can reach me. But Instagram is probably more I hang out, and it's at Camilla J Collins is my handle. I'm on Facebook too, or my home on the internet is camillacollins.com or camillajcollins.com. Both go to the same place.
Perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Well, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you again, Camilla, for just being gracious, for sharing your story. It really means a lot to me. And I truly believe we definitely added value to the world today. So thank you guys for tuning in. As always, if there were things you were able to take away from this episode, please share it. And if there are things that I personally can improve on, please let me know, because we are constantly working to be the best version of ourselves. Until next time, I love y'all. Peace.